Someone had mentioned before about the view from the plains flying down the PDX. It is absolutely amazing. I flew in this morning, and you do get a great sense of the built community. Not the people, of course, but the built community and how they feel about themselves when they start looking at planning, what they did, the moves that they make. This has taken us down to Esther Short Park, looking back towards the buildings, because it's dropped down to Esther Short Street here. And you're going to get a sense, I want you to pay attention to coming through the portal of the rail line here. It really gives you a sense of what we're going to be working with. And how important it is to really do something special with both sides as you come through this. We sped it up, you don't speed coming down through this. Nope, that's not a bike. But this starts to show that waterfront esplanade, how the buildings really create a stadium effect, amphitheater effect, really catching all the light, really catching all the opportunities that that water has to give for the architecture and for the open spaces. Just truly a massive room for people to just kind of go in. It's going to be a very, very inviting space. The key to these, though, are the scale of the buildings and the park buildings are down at the base of this, as well as understanding how the waterfront trail system is coming in.
And this starts to illustrate how that waterfront street and parking lot esplanade would share pedestrian traffic and its relationship to the water and the public open space.
Some of the things that I've seen like that, though, have one or two stories, retail, and then a step back to the building above to kind of give you, more relative to our own height, and and what I've seen is retail and then restaurant and then office or condo type of idea. So is that possible for you?
It's not only possible, it's something that we should. You're referring to the buildings here. These are lower in scale, but they would definitely have the pedestrian base feel out there. This is really conceptual massing. But we want to start as the buildings get taller and higher as you go down towards, to the west. We felt it was important to make it more pronounced at that level to further show that this is a scalable, development. And here's where you can really get a sense that we wanted to be able to offer the car views, but then immediately take that away and get some density around the auto and pedestrian immediately. So you have shops, restaurants, whatever type of retail on both sides of you, really giving you that urban experience, yet you're right there on the water, right there. This is the terminus at Rain. This is also equally important. As cars come in, this is another signature piece to the development, as well as people leaving this development going back up to ground. You got to always think of it both ways. We recently went through an exercise where the architects, we always design everything with north up. And so I don't know why it is, but intuitively the bottom part gets a little more attention. Maybe that's what can go ahead to start with the foundation. So when you do master planning, it's kind of the same way. The bottom part of the master plan really got a lot of the attention. It wasn't until we did an exercise for a couple of months where we put north down and started designing the project upside down. We truly understood the connection points to this development, both sides, coming from downtown, going to downtown. Here's where we really start to take a look at tower spacing. The front towers are not turned to maximize 100% on one side of the building views. We're turning these potentially to open up those views, maximizing pedestrians coming straight down to the water, being able to open up between these buildings so they're not so imposing. This connects in the plan, you can remember the urban park that was in the west corner. This is a boardwalk that will connect right to the waterfront. It takes you right down to the trail. This is also a boardwalk here that is part of that retail experience. that is uniquely going to be Vancouver. This is an area where you can walk out there and you can look back at the city and experience your city from the riverside, from the water. We felt that was a very strong cultural piece to at least provide. Now, graphically, if it emulates this way in the final, we don't know. For location purposes, there's dolphins, there's a pier there now. This is where that would come in. The computer pauses for effect, so I hope it's working. View corridors down. Potential growth to the north. Being able to take a look at view corridors down. The urban open space coming down through. Again, this is conceptual. We're taking a look down, but this is really of the scale of brewery blocks. We have streets coming in here that are pedestrian-only streets that connect down to the water. Only one or two of the streets actually have a vehicle. But the massing of the model really makes it look a little more imposing than it actually is. If you kind of go down to Portland and brewery blocks, it's really a 68-foot dimension, a very comfortable urban feel. And that's the video.
That's I mean, it's amazing how, or at least for me,